how was your pee break?
My pee break.
It might flash you on TikTok.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I, too, am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around? But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.
Boy, oh boy, do I have a show for you all tonight. She is a little more alive and a little less of a depressing hoe today. Guys, welcome back to Talk to Me, Taylor. All right, full disclosure, as we do here on GNN, I was going to sit this one out today. I have been feeling it. You guys know I've been struggling, wrestling with everything going on, like pulling my shit half together on these streams. And I have so many kick-ass recorded interviews with that, oddly enough, are perfectly timed right now, given the ongoing debate around free speech and what happened with Charlie Kirk. One with Dr. Robert Malone and his wife, Jill, all about, censorship, free speech, autonomy in the Web3 world. He spoke at Bitcoin conference and I ran into him. If you don't know, he went viral on Joe Rogan during the pandemic. So I have that conversation. I also have one with Adam Swart, who is the CEO of the largest, basically paid protesting firm in the country, where we get into, shall I say, a friendly debate. So like I said, unbeknownst to me, it would actually be perfect timing with everything going on right now and really fascinating. So I was going to air one of those today and just sit this one out and collect some brain cells, because right now I literally have the brain capacity of a sewer rat, which my hair, honestly, I did my hair, but it kind of personifies a sewer rat. But Robert Redford died. And I thought, you know what? I got to step up to the plate. I got to step in on this convo, because I really feel, the timing is so uncanny, because we all know him as Hollywood icon, legend, stud. Oh yeah. And it's so oddly just coalesces and ties in, that's what I was trying to say, the words, to everything that's happening right now. And I thought, we're tossing around free speech, this, that, everything that's been happening. I've been saying to you guys, this has been my hill to die on. This has been my mission. But let's not just toss it around like everybody else. Like, this is Little League. Like, let's actually peel back the layers, of this onion, like it is Shrek, and do that. So it's going to be a great show for you guys. And in honor of the free speech episode, I do have my tits out, brain out shirt today. Because if you know, you know. And it's funny. And I'm just going to do a little bit of small talk here. Like, it is the tea party and I'm waiting for you all to arrive fashionably late. It is fine. Am I Alice or the Mad Hatter? I don't know. You guys all decide. But while I have small talk till some of you guys stumble in and show up, it's funny because I had a call earlier with somebody who had found me and my commentary on Charlie Kirk on Instagram, also is in media, has a multitude of big podcasts, has worked with photography, models, OnlyFans, again, podcasting, you name it. And he was like, tell me the Taylor story. What do you do? And so, I do my usual kind of like thing. Here's why I'm a really unique female voice, I think. Here's what I've done on the red carpet. And then finally, I'm just like, basically, tits out, brain out is my motto. Get it? Get it, guy. Get it. It's out right now. So I don't know. Unhinged. You tell me. But it's actually, I did this on purpose. I got the swag on purpose. And by the way, if you guys want me to reignite this merch in the store, if you want some, let me know, fellas. I can do I support the tits out, brain out for you. I don't know. You just let me know if you want me to reinstate that. But it's perfectly, it's on brand for today's episode, because this is my, boobs out, brain out, women being both sexual, feminine, a force, and also fiercely intellectual, brainy, is my idea of free speech and free expression, amongst others. So I got you, Robert Redford. Without further ado, Robert Redford passed away. And I did actually interview Robert Redford. I don't have that exciting of a story, but I will tell you that the little Charlotte's Web of this story is also like premonition, so oddly tied into the cultural conversation around free speech and everything that's going on. But I interviewed him a handful of years ago in LA when they did what was called at the time roundtables. It would be the talent and I don't know, like 5 to 8 journalists. And we all sat around a table and interviewed them. So I don't have anything monumental about Robert Redford other than, I don't know, he was like in his 80s. So he was still Fox and he a Fox. And fine, still hot. Robert Redford, I'm going to show you guys today. He was like, you may not know because he was such an iconic actor. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, by the way, about Watergate, very political. So many iconic movies. But he was like biceps out, balls out, and brain out too. Like best of both. Oh my God, Robert Redford. Like iconic Hollywood. I'm saying it's like Clint Eastwood. Tom Brady's not Hollywood per se, but it's like in Robert Redford. It's like, baby, the trifecta. But a little tease for you. So the reason I interviewed him is when he did Pete's Dragon, which was the Disney reimagining of that movie. If you don't know, I don't even know. Pete's Dragon, not Puff the Magic Dragon. Okay, this isn't a Greg Fokker moment. Pete's Dragon on Disney. And he was in the movie. And Steven Spielberg directed it. Now, I also interviewed Steven Spielberg that day in a roundtable type setting. And I did go in the internet trenches to see what the interviews were, what we even had discussed, the topics, what I had written, which I will divulge. But funny enough, people always ask me, who is somebody, and you guys see in the intro here, like I've interviewed everybody who's everybody who's everybody. And they always ask me who were you most starstruck by? I don't know why and I don't know how, but Steven Spielberg was one of those people. And I'm not even a hardcore movie junkie. I just was straight up Elsa frozen in my tracks. Like I was like, holy shit, that's Steven Spielberg. But more interestingly than interviewing Steven that day, I'm like, oh, Steve and I, we go way back to that one day at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, is his daughter Destry Allen, Steven Spielberg's daughter, who I interviewed, loosely got to know. We were kind of following each other online and acquaintances, but I'm going to get to her in a minute because it really feeds into all this when it comes to free speech. But again, this is the little Charlotte's Web. I'm doing the weave here. The post and the interview that was published from that day, sadly, was not with Robert Redford, although I can recall he was a total stud, even like wrinkly and old and class act and smart, but was with Bryce Dallas Howard, who was in the movie, who's Ron Howard's daughter. Oddly enough, because it's a kid's movie, blah, 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 I interviewed her, guys. And again, I don't know if this is just me being a witch or just the sad ass state of affairs in the world, but of all things, I interviewed her about, and I'm pulling up the receipts for you, about being, it just literally called me a CVS machine because here they are and they're going to be coming all day. About being a mom in such a sad world. And here's the beginning, like me literally trying to be E.E. Cummings in this bustle piece that just wants like celebrity news. I open the piece and I say, outside of a cozy movie theater where magic, happiness, and friendly dragons are very much real, some truths of our world are terrifying. It's a ballsy move to even turn on the news these days, and call me crazy, but I feel nervous to step out of my home at times. I can't imagine what it would feel like having children to think about too. Okay, this was in 2016. And so the piece goes on to, in my interview with Bryce Dallas Howard, where she talks about, and it so strikes, it's as if it could literally have been a conversation of today about with kids in this world and navigating and basically just making it a more hopeful, better place for them. Like, you know, you get it, Mr. Rogers, all that. But I just thought that's so striking in that, what is Rob? Hey, Rob, I'm on my live stream with my audience. Do you care to say anything?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it started yet.
Don't mind me. Don't mind little old talk to me, Taylor. Anything you want to say, Rob? Who has GNN off today?
No, I am. I want to say have a great rest of your show.
Why, thank you. I'm just talking about Robert Redford.
Okay, well, I will catch up with you after, say hi to your audience. She's the best. That's what I like.
And I didn't even pay him to say that. Okay, bye, Rob. We'll see you tomorrow on GNN. Oh, and he hung up. All right. So Robert Redford himself. So what's so fascinating, and I can't lie. I was today years old when I found out this information that Robert Redford was such a fierce advocate for free expression and for storytelling and for creativity that he created the Sundance Institute, which therein created the Sundance Film Festival, which is the epitome and completely synonymous with independent film. And you don't have to be in Hollywood to know that independent film is basically where the cool kids lie. It's like the fray, the fringe, and highlighting stories and in the nooks and crannies that would otherwise be shoved out by the mainstream Hollywood or even censored, right? So forgive me, but I am going to be looking at my notes, like a kid in class, to read you some of the things that he said about it and why he was so about it. And that's what is so fascinating when we look at the backdrop of today, because he was also a fierce lib. He was a fierce liberal, okay? Because again, this is like what liberals are supposed to be about, and y'all are just losing the plot that is a Robert Redford film on or off screen. So here are some things he said about creating the vision behind Sundance. It's an extension of something I believed in, which is creating a mechanism for new voices to have a place to develop and be heard. I saw stories out there that weren't having a chance to be told. I wanted to commit my energies to those people to have a chance. Independent film was about giving voice to people who didn't have a chance. Protecting, this is really interesting. It's almost like an endangered species, like a darn near bald eagle. That is Robert Redford. He said, helping independent film was about giving a voice to people who didn't have a chance. The same way protecting the environment was promoting something that was under the, oh shit, my thing is covered here. Drawn to protect what was in danger of being lost to keep it alive. But that's powerful, right? Like free thought, free expression, fringe stories, underrepresented voices, not in the lame representation way now, like what it was then, which was sheer cutting edge and cool and provocative. This one I have highlighted. He said, we believe a story driven by an individual authentic voice can awaken new ideas that have the power to delight and entertain, push creative boundaries, spark new levels of empathy and understanding, and even lead to social change. He said, I always resisted normal things. I wanted to go a bit off. So I think that you guys get the idea, and I'll leave it with this. And sorry for looking down and reading this, but you know what? If you don't like it, then too fucking bad. He said, what is the risk? Not taking a risk is a risk. Like, damn, not taking a risk is a risk. And I just feel like this holds up a sad ass, broken Snow White mirror on the wall to what Hollywood has become. Because in my mind, this is what free expression, what liberals, if you want, I don't care, were supposed to be about. Not the forced quotas and lip service, virtue signaling, cosplaying we see left, right, and sideways now. It's like, this is the real, like, I'm going to put myself out on a limb and create goddamn Sundance, which is iconic, to highlight voices that, again, would otherwise be shut out or censored. So a moment for you, Robert Redford, and my nipples are even a little hard. I'm sorry if it's too soon. I'm sorry if it's inappropriate. David Goxstein, you knew what you were getting bringing me on your network. So we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back like a little lasso, in a Clint Eastwood film. Not that Robert Redford was Clint Eastwood, but, to Steven Spielberg and his daughter. So again, she and I had hit it off, and she too is like a hardcore lib. And I'd like to think that my views, and I've been hearing this more and more lately, and can I just say, the messages you guys have sent me are so goddamn sweet in the last couple days and so motivating. I've heard from people who are complete strangers who have come out of the woodwork, who I may have known once, who I know, like all of it, and just basically saying like, and this isn't to my like blonde weave right now, but to be like, thanks for just being common sense here, rational thinking, and as it pertains to Charlie Kirk, not being like, this is war, we need to start a civil war, not dancing on his grave, just being honest and all that, right? So I like to pride myself on just calling it as I see it, not being in a camp and calling out both sides, tits out, brain out, all right? And Destry Allen, Steven Spielberg's daughter, saw something that I had posted once. I don't know if it was about Israel Palestine or what it was, but she basically wrote this whole thing on it and was like, unfollow. And I thought, man, and I didn't unfollow her. I didn't unfollow her. Why? A, it's so sad because it's so indicative of the time. And unfortunately, the Charlie Kirk horror is just that amplified and personified that we literally are incapable of hearing another view. Like in this case, eliminate the person, but like body, like reading it in your body will implode on the spot. But I didn't unfollow Destry. Why? Because I actually want to know what she thinks. When I say that I'm a free speech advocate, I'm a free speech fucking advocate. It doesn't mean just speech that I like. That's why even I called out Piers Morgan years ago. This was like the height of cancel culture in 2020 when he was on his panel on his show and they were saying stuff he didn't like and he stormed off. And I was like, bro, buddy, pal, buddy, man. You're all about free speech until it's something somebody doesn't like or someone says something you don't like. No, it doesn't go like that. And that right there, my friends, is the predicament that we are in right now. And it is a mess. So I'm going to try to really, again, get into this right now in the neatest way because it's so goddamn messy. It is looking like, a frat basement on a Sunday morning with the lights on. It is just like when the sun's creeping in and you're like, oh shit, that is what happened. That is the state. I'm talking like the sticky beer spilled on the floor, maybe some throw up. Like that is the state of this free speech debate happening right now. So I'm going to tip this part off here with my girl, none other than Jasmine Crockett. Oh, Jasmine Crockett. So Jasmine Crockett, in a lovely display of brains, tweeted yesterday, free speech clearly isn't free, in all caps, for everyone, ... Okay. What is she referring to? We know what she's referring to. And I hate to break it to you, Jazz, but in light of what we just saw, what are you actually even trying to say? What are you trying to say? And why? Like, why is this your time to say it? And why is this your way to prove your point? Find a better way. This is what she's saying, guys, because we are seeing like the rapture of brain rot, basically. We are seeing people from all walks of life. I will part from my purple pen now. It's a distraction. We were seeing people from all walks of life, teachers, anchors, people in the military, doctors, nurses, get let go from their jobs because they are, for lack of a better term, celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and dancing on his grave. So what Jasmine Crockett is saying is these people are getting reprimanded and punished for doing that. So clearly free speech isn't free. Lady, we just saw the biggest political assassination, arguably since the 60s, of somebody who literally was slaughtered in front of our eyes for somebody who was advocating for free expression and debate because of his beliefs. We know it's not free. He was just killed. When I first read the tweet, I was like, oh, this has to be some conservative commentator. And then I read it was Jasmine Crockett, and my mind literally split in half. Clearly. Thanks, Jasmine. This is what you're doing to me. Splitting in half. It's really quite repulsive. Like, again, this is the point that you're making right now. We know it's not free. We just saw him get killed for it. And she's making a point about the contrary, about the flip side. So again, instead of being animalistic, like we've seen all over the internet and throwing fight words and all those, try to be a little civil. Who would have thunk it that the blondes who's braless with the tits out right would be the most civil amongst all you Neanderthals, barbaric people? It's 2025 for you. It's GNN for you. All right. But that's the culture war. Because here's the thing, the way that Jasmine Crockett's, and again, I have to literally give myself a lobotomy to see it this way. And I will full well own that's half of the problem here, right? No, everyone is so indignant that they think that their way is the right way. I will full well own my biases and where they come from and where I think this doesn't feel right. This is off base, but I can see where in their mind, in Jasmine Crockett's small, sad mind, she honestly, I think, thinks this. And here's the crux of the culture war, right? Because now you have people on the right going, oh no, you guys are getting let go, but you can dish it, but you can't take it. We've been getting our asses canned for the last 5 years for our beliefs. Now, you could take it a step further, right? Because we saw people getting canceled, their lives ruined. If you want to talk Hollywood or showbiz, their agencies dropped, sponsors, studios, the whole kit and caboodle, all that jazz, okay? Over things like maybe speaking up against COVID, maybe questioning vaccines. Employers fired them. Maybe it was from harmless jokes and tweets from eons ago, before Twitter even existed. It was like scribbles from the cavemen. Maybe it was for something like, I don't know, I saw companies and entities and people destroyed merely for not posting a black square during BLM. Even down to literally, I'm sure at some point, misgendering a pencil. Okay, that's how crazy. Now, again, I can own my biases. I'm weighing it against each other. And I'm going, in my mind, that's all fair. All of those things are fair to question, to bring up. Is that Warren getting fired? And I remember at the time going, this is ridiculous. Like, again, advocating for free speech, but you have to remember it's all subjective. And this is where this shit is a slippery slope, like the ski slope that Gwyneth Paltrow never fucking saw. Because it is all subjective. So I can sit here and go, I think that that's absurd. But those employers or those people, either if it's, again, virtue signaling, or if they deep in their heart believed, I don't want this person working for me who's questioning vaccines. I think vaccines are the Holy Bible and our salvation, and they can't question it. Fine. And that's the thing with all of this too, is now that I'm kind of on the other side of it, because at the time, again, I was like, this is crazy. You're firing people for their beliefs. But again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's because they think that. It's because they think that warranted getting fired. Now I'm going, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm running this media platform, one woman show, if you want to call it. And I've had people on my team, come and go, whatever it is. And now I'm seeing this and I'm going, if you are an employer, you damn well bet your bottom dollar fanny that you can decide who works for you. You have every right. You are full well capable of letting anybody go. And I'm sorry, if I'm an employer, even if it's my platform and I see an intern, a creative director, whatever it is, pulling this barbaric shit, even with a Charlie Kirk, something so inhumane and brutal, I'm going to be like, sweetie, was nice knowing you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Send me a postcard. It's been real. That's my choice. So that's where this is real ass, again, dicey, because it's really up to the individual. Now, again, having common sense, having a brain that I pride myself on actually working, I personally, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure a lot of you do here, weigh the two against each other. And I'm going, misgendering an inanimate object or not having your pronouns in your email signature is quite different than celebrating a brutal assassination. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I am just crazy. But that's how I see that. And that is the problem, right? Again, and that both sides are so dug in. So let's just take a minute here because this is, again, where and this is where I'm going to get us to our big climax and our big finale here. This is where I too have I've thought about this at length, obviously, right? Because the last thing we want is to be a game of whack-a-mole and dominoes where it's like, you're canceled for this, you're canceled, and you just go, 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 go. It's either like be about it or don't, right? Because that's what we're seeing right now. It's like an eye for an eye. The left is canceled, the right is canceled. Oh, you condition, but it just goes round and round and round. So where do you draw the line in the sand? Well, guess what, my friends? Here's where, again, this gets a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to quote Alpha Warrior, and I just want to make sure, by the way, hang on, I'm going to pull myself up here and have like a Black Mirror moment, and I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah. I just heard my voice. That's fine. I wanted to make sure the volume was on. Pump up the volume. Okay. So this is a tweet by Alpha, who was just on my show last week. And he captures an old post from May of last year by Charlie Kirk, in which Charlie says, hate speech. Yeah, now we're going hate speech territory, okay? And Pam Bondi talked about hate speech. I think it was today or yesterday. So now people are questioning that, understandably, because again, with all of this, basically bottom line is like, where do you draw the line? Okay. So in Charlie's tweet, he says, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech. And all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. You got to admit, love him or hate him, the guy was consistent and he was committed. And I feel the same way. Like, I want to see all of it. You know what I saw today, guys? I saw a comedy sketch, and I'm sure you'll see it at some point. I think I just caught it at the very beginning of its virality and circulation, of a liberal comedian, female, mocking Erica Kirk's eulogy for Charlie Kirk. And obviously I was just completely repulsed, my stomach turning. And I think I wrote something on it. Like, this is just like, I don't even remember what I wrote. Something of like, there is no shred of humanity in that. Like, literally, this is a new low. But you know what? Do I think that she should have her account shut down? That she should be silenced? No, in fact, I'm glad I saw it. Fucking glad I saw it, because I'm like, this is how people think. It's real. I don't need earmuffs. I don't need to be shielded. I want to know. And I have to say, I really applaud people, even if I deeply disagree with them, who've said the same thing. A couple examples. Nico House, he's so progressive that he thinks Bernie and AOC are like frauds, okay? And he and I would almost disagree on like Israel, even Charlie Kirk, we couldn't be further apart. And when I had him on my show, and you could see the little snippets in my show intro, he said, I want to know if it's out there. I want to know if you're a Nazi. I want to know if you're a fascist, a real fascist, not this shit that they peddle. I want to know that it's out there. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I would rather know. I don't need to be shielded. What is this? Joy Villa, who I love Joy so much. She's a Billboard artist. She wore her very controversial Trump dresses to the Grammys. I was on her show the other day. I met her interviewing her on the red carpet. We agree and disagree on some things, which we know. We love each other. And she said the other day, and she was friends with Charlie Kirk, and she's a fierce conservative woman. And she said, and I thought this was so powerful, it may have been on Rob's show last night on GNN, but she said, listen, we're going to get louder with Turning Point. By all means, I want to see the progressive this, the left this group, like whatever it is. Yes, like louder. Let me see it. I want to see it. And I give so much kudos. It's like, yes, that's real strength in anything, just in life, not to be like Socrates over here, but it's like when you aren't threatened, that's true power. Like, you don't need to stomp on everybody else. That's baby dick shit. That's what a dictator does. That's what a tyrant does. Like, if you are so sure in yourself, you have the wherewithal and the strength and the courage and the balls, frankly, and you're so not threatened to hear other people's views. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. So Alpha went on to say, there is no hate speech. An exception in America, the First Amendment protects speech, including speech you despise. Okay, so this is in my opinion now where it's like, we're talking about private entities and companies, right, and employers. Now this is what I'm talking about. Now we're talking about the government. Like, step off my gown. right? Now we're talking about the government not interfering. And I do agree with that. That's where I think the government should step out. It should be up to the public, up to the people, the private entities, like I said, the employers. But once the government, I get that's why people were up in arms about Pam Bondi now talking about hate speech, because once the government intervenes, that, my friends, is a path none of us, that is like a chutes and ladders game none of us want to go down. Okay, and proceed on. So, and this is what Alpha says, and I agree. What private businesses do, cancel culture mobs do, basically is on the people, not the state. I agree fully. I would be remiss if I didn't explain to you that I ran this through ChatGPT, because being somebody who is so vocal about free speech, and I'm going to end it with a personal story here. It's something we're seeing going on in the news, and a personal experience that I have that some of you may know about that parallels it. But I was like, wait, okay, what when you lay down the law, what is actually the T when it comes to all this? And it said that exceptions to free speech, when there could be government intervention or law intervention, is incitement to imminent lawless action, causing immediate violence, true threats, committing violence against someone, harassment, targeted, repeated, severe conduct, obscenity, defamation, fighting words. So, and I know a lot of you guys too in the space are you guys are Web3 warriors, and that is it for my show and tell presentation, by the way, so I can put my phone device away. And this is going to be a conversation that goes into Web3, because let me tell you, I'm working with a lot of emerging Web3 companies who pride themselves, as they should, on not having you by the balls and in a chokehold, like an algorithmic prison that is YouTube or Instagram, whatever. But they're also going, okay, is it just the Wild West? Like, where do you draw the line? The line is the law. The line is the law. Child porn, whatever it is, this kind of stuff, right? So at the end of the day, again, Jasmine Crockett, Steven Spielberg's daughter, who unfollowed me. You'll be back though. We can all have our 2 cents and our input, but at the end of the day, the law is the law. The law is the law, baby. All right. Lastly, with all of this, when it comes to free speech. So this is crazy. Now, like I said, we do have all of these people getting let go because they're outwardly celebrating execution and murder. Something to maybe do a little reevaluating. I don't know. But again, what do I know? This woman perhaps was the first, guys, who actually may have been punished the other way around for giving a tribute to Charlie Kirk. So her name is Benny Ray. Oh shit, I can't even read my Dr. Scribble handwriting, whatever. Benny Ray Harney. I don't know. She was an Illinois news anchor and of an affiliate, a big news affiliate. I don't know which one it was. And she put out a really beautiful, heartfelt tribute to Charlie Kirk. Now, this is pretty much like standard procedure. If somebody, say it's like a Robert Redford, a sports icon, a business tycoon, I don't know, a Steve Jobs, like anybody, this is pretty kosher for them to be like, guys, like we just want to remember so-and-so who was so significant in our culture, right? Pretty standard. So this girl does a very, very heartfelt, she tears up and she actually says, for anybody who's hurting right now, just how dark the world is. And she goes on to say, Charlie Kirk was actually a mentor of hers and one of her first employers, and was the reason she pursued a career as an anchor and doing what she did as a journalist. And they suspended her. Again, nothing even about the conservative this or gay that or abortion that. Just like, if you are hurting, I get it. I am too. He's the reason I'm here right now. Okay, show and tell. Like, very basic. And she was suspended. So out of that, she ended up resigning. And she basically said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to keep my job because I have to stand by principle and my values. So again, regardless of where you sit, you can't knock the girl for being about it. Well, guess who else was in a similar predicament? Your girl here. And that's how we're going to end the show today. So I would say 10-ish years ago. Oh, John Legend, what's up? Oh my God. Actually, this is bizarre because John Legend just popped in the chat. And this last story I'm going to tell you, the finale, the conclusion is about real John Legend's real life wife, Chrissy Teigen. So almost a decade ago, I was a writer at VH1. And I wrote a piece, an op-ed, that was calling out Chrissy Teigen for being a big cyber bully and being hypocritical, for saying she was bullied and bullying just faceless random people on the internet. So what happened, y'all? Similarly to Benny Ray here in Illinois. And again, it wasn't the same dynamic because she was giving a shout out to Charlie Kirk, who was her mentor and employer and advocate. Chrissy Teigen and I did not have such a dynamic, right? But she caught wind of it. She didn't like it. She started tweeting at me at VH1. And rumor on the street is, rumor has it that she called VH1 to have me fired. And so similarly with this news outlet, you know, VH1 was trying to save face. They wanted to shut my voice out and down and up. You get it. Shut my voice out, shut my voice down, and shut my voice up. Yeah, it all makes sense. All of the adjectives. And same thing. They had put me on suspension, and I felt that I'd become such an scapegoat. I was like, first of all, this had to get vetted. I have all the receipts. I have the Slack DMs. My editor helped pick the headline, all this. And it wasn't even antagonizing her. It was just, again, similarly to what I do now. Consistency, queen. Consistency is, I hate calling myself queen. That was so tacky. Consistency is key. That's what I meant to say. And I was just like, I just said what I said. I saw what I saw. I called it out and I didn't like it. And I actually in the piece offered, like, here are more productive ways, I think, to deal with this. But you're just fueling the fire of this toxicity and this culture of Twitter at the time and bullying and all this. Wow. Again, they wanted to shut me up. So they suspended me and like spanked me like a little bad girl. Spanked me and put me in timeout, if we're staying on the classroom theme. And so similarly to this woman we're seeing today, I quit. And I said the exact same thing as her. I was like, the job is not worth it. And I had no money, nothing lined up, nothing. It was such a fork in the road. And I just was like, I said what I said. And I stand by my principle. I think what I called out wasn't okay. And if VH1, if you're that cowardly, roll with or roll out. Like, I'm out. And everybody at the time, and I'm sure this girl too, everybody was like, keep your head down, just delete the tweets, da 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 da. And I was like, no, bitch. What part of it did I stutter? I said what I said. And if we're getting deep, I wrote it too, because bullying, just the whole thing, it has this really special place in my heart. I was bullied in high school and younger and all this. So I just was like, it's not okay, period, across the board. Well, as fate would have it, and I swear this all brings us back to the beginning. A few years later, her cyberbullying scandal would come to light. And it all was basically surfaced, how she told Courtney Stodden, who was a reality star, to literally kill herself, other people, you know, this, that. So I wrote an op-ed in USA Today. You can look it up. And it's so was ahead of exactly what we are seeing now. Because I was like, okay, I was ahead of this. I called it. But secondly, everybody, namely on the right, was calling to cancel Chrissy Teigen. And I was like, as somebody who was at the brunt of this, what does canceling her, how is that productive? And I say in the piece, what, an eye for an eye? We just go round and round and round? Who wins? And it's sort of like the domino effect that I'm talking about now. It's just like, okay, this, and then soon enough, what, everybody's taken out, and then what? And at the time and in the piece, I advocated for, what have you, Charlie Kirk would be proud, but more of a dialogue with all these issues. I said, you want to talk about racism? You bring white people in the convo with black people. You want to talk about misogyny? Bring men in the fold. You want to talk about this? Have Chrissy Teigen have an honest dialogue with her audience about it. Maybe she will save somebody's life in the process, not tell them to end it. That never happened. I don't think Chrissy, I think she read the article, but she never took me advice. Methinks she should have. She never took my advice. But the point remains that we have to take it all with a grain of salt. We have to keep in mind when it comes to this, again, eye for an eye, if it's apples, oranges, whatever it is, that it's always coming from what the person, it's subjective, what the person thinks is okay and isn't okay. At the end of the day, bitch, no one's above the law. That's something else to remember. It's like, that's the ultimate, kind of ruling. And once the government, again, we can all jibber jabber about this all day long. Like a bunch of hamsters in a cage. We got a problem once the government starts dictating. I don't care who they're clamping down on. That's the real problem. And again, this incessant cyclical thing of, and again, I said it then in the piece, of going round and round and canceling each other. It just does not help. And you know what? I think that's why so many people are so fucked up by all this, because that's what Charlie Kirk was saying. So I will leave you all with this, my fellow freethinkers, on this Tuesday. In a world of non-freethinkers, Pyramid 7, you're just coming in. I was just doing my climax. You're going to have to do the rewind. You're going to have to do the replay. What I was saying was, in a world of, I hate these because they're so buzzy, but like sheep, people who aren't critically thinking, people who hop on a bandwagon, bots for all I care. Be above it. Be a Charlie Kirk and be about it. Be a Robert Redford. Be a Robert Redford in looks, in swag, in class, and in the spirit of true free expression. Love you guys, and buckle up for tomorrow's show with Dr. Robert Malone and his wife. It is perfectly on time. Again, all this censorship, autonomy, sovereignty, free speech, and a Web3 world. Pyramid 7, thank you for the shirt shout out. I address it in the opening of the show. I will leave you all with tits out, brain out always. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Malones. Be there.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you on TikTok.
Wear them, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
But I too am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.